Before we jump into 90s Stephen King, it's time to whip up everything he wrote in the 80s into some sort of order and ranking. Why? Just for the fun of it. Here's my own personal ranking of 1980s Stephen King. Hi everyone, I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and welcome back to my channel, which is dedicated to the works of one Stephen Edwin King. Normally, in each of these videos, I look at a different book from King's chronology and give you 19 reasons to read each one. But every so often, we do something different, and this video is one of those slightly different ones. Last time out, I gave you 19 reasons to read The Dark Half, which marked the end of the 1980s for Stephen King. So, just as I did when we got to the end of the 70s, I wanted to count down my overall ranking of that entire decade of King's works, which is what we're going to do in this video. Now, as with my previous rankings videos, this is my opinion. This is not some definitive list. That's impossible to do. Everyone has different opinions. But I love hearing your list. So let me know in the comments your favourite and least favourite books of Stephen King's from the 1980s. And let me know what you think of my own list as well. Right, enough preamble. Let's count these beasts down. At 19 is Roadwork, which is in the Bachman books. Nope, not even the can save it. It's dull, it's boring. Move on, please. At 18 is The Talisman. Nope, boring, too long, and full of annoying twats. Next, at 17 is The Tommyknockers. Now, there is a good book in here. Honest, there's a good book in here somewhere. It just takes a lot of digging to find it. Kind of like Bobby with that spaceship, am I right? At 16, The Running Man. Now, all of the books so far are actually in my overall bottom 10 Stephen King books. This one is one that dropped massively on second reading. It's fine, there's lots of fun bits, but kind of want the hero to just fuck off and die, which is a problem. So 15, it's Eyes of the Dragon. This one's fine. I appreciate the Randall Flagg backstory, but fantasy, this much fantasy, just kind of makes me go, meh. But this is at least the point where the books stop being bad and start being pretty good. At 14, it's The Gunslinger. Yes, the opening book at the Dark Tower is this low down on my list for 1980s King. But come on, it's pretty fair, right? I mean, it's not all that. The rest of the series is better, but this one just doesn't have that much going for it. Aside from, of course, one of the greatest opening lines in the whole history of literature. So at 13 is Dance Macabre. Now, I love this one, and I love King geeking out on the genre, but as I said in my review of this book, it's about time he did a sequel and looked at the most recent 40 years, and crucially, I'd love to hear King talk about his own impact on the genre. But this is a real underrated gem, and if you haven't checked it out already, you definitely should. At 12 is Firestarter. Now, I know this is a book that many people have right at the top of their King list, but for me, it's solid mid-tier King. If anything, it feels like he's trying too hard in quite a lot of this book. It does pay off occasionally with some terrific scenes, but there's just a lot of it that just doesn't quite work for me. However, I am more than ready for a good movie adaptation of it, which hopefully we will be getting very soon. At number 11, Cycle of the Werewolf, a quite terrific novella, a really fun read, and a big part of the enjoyment of this is, of course, those fantastic illustrations within. Although I did have to knock this back a place because of, you know, that stupid sexy werewolf bum. It's just unnecessary. At 10, Thinner. It's trashy, it's pulpy, it's loads and loads of fun. And I love seeing what King did with this. This was, as I said in my review, the first time he was consciously writing as Bachman. And it would have been fascinating to see what he'd done next had his secret not been discovered right after this one came out. At number 9, The Drawing of the Three. The book that properly got me hooked on the Dark Tower. And depending on which day of the week you ask me, it's often my favourite book of the entire series. It's Roland getting the band together, and it's great. At 8, Skeleton Crew, and we are entering excellent book territory. This collection of stories is, well, excellent. Just think of some of the stories in here. The Mist, The Jaunt, Mrs. Todd's Shortcut, The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands, Word Processor of the Gods, The Reaper's Image. I could go on, but you should just go and read it. At 7, Cujo, my first King book, a Castle Rock story. It's got no chapters, it's got lots of tension, lots of scariness, it's got some quite unnecessary and disturbing use of bodily fluids whilst trashing a house, and it's fucking bleak. Everything you could want in a King book, apart from maybe the jizz. And of course, it's got Cooge, who only ever wanted to be a good boy, not like my dog Floyd is a twat. At 6, Christine, and this, it's a riot. A possessed killer car? Yes please. This one's a breeze to read. You'll feel like you're putting your pedal to the metal, and it's one of many from this decade that is just fucking iconic. Okay, 5 more to go from 1980s King, and all of them feature in my overall top 10 King ranking, or at least they did when I recorded that video ages and ages ago. In at number 5 for my 80s ranking is The Dark Half, which I've literally just posted a video about recently. It's dark, it's scary, it's gruesome, it's a bit weird, it's really good. At number 4, it's Misery, one of the best thrillers ever written. Iconic scenes, iconic characters, and way more tension than 2 people in 1 bedroom should be able to create. At 3, Different Seasons, still the go-to book to point anyone to who reckons Stephen King is just a horror writer. And the stories in here are fantastic. I mean, just having Shawshank Redemption and The Body, which of course became Stand By Me, in the same collection, there you go. At number 2, Pet Sematary, the most moving, beautiful and powerful documentation of grief you are ever likely to read. Sure, the zombie animals are the hook on this, but this one is dark. It will ruin you and then make you want to read it again. So that means at number 1, my favourite King book of the 1980s, of course, is It. Had to be really, didn't it? I mean, let's just think of some of the iconic things in this weighty book. Pennywise, The Losers Club, Georgie, Henry Bowers, The Barons, The Sewer Orgy, Hi-Ho Silver Away, Patrick Hockstetter, The Deadlights. I could go on. It's so fucking good, and is about way more than just a spooky clown. It is magnificent. Wait, a sewer what? So there you go, all 19 of King's books from the 80s, good number there, ranked from bad to beautiful. Let me know. So there we go, all of Stephen King's books from the 1980s, all 19 of them, excellent number there Steve, ranked from bad to beautiful. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments, and also share your own. Tell me your favourite and your least favourite King book of the 80s. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to come and say hi on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson, and do stick around, come back again soon, because we're moving into the 90s, which is quite possibly my favourite decade of Stephen King's works, apart from the first book of that decade, which I'm not looking forward to doing a video about. But we're going to do it, so I'll see you then. Take care.